and allow the Ziggs to follow up, the Wukong to follow up. The Yone will be taken away. It was something I think Clear could have actually played in this draft if they went the Sejuani route. But this is so greedy. You're playing this into the Ashe Seraphine.
Yeah, and into Rise, which you're just going to get bullied early on. Obviously it's Yone for Showmaker, like he can make some big plays later on, but early on, I think DK are just, again, like,
Backs
what do they
against the
do?
wall.
What do they do?
This is more than game one. I feel such a draft that's grasping at straws for DPLUS. We got a huge cheer in the crowd when Showmaker's Yone is locked. The crowd is ready to see what happens, but we already talked about this. We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming, and I think DPLUS did as well. They have the counter pick. They picked second pick. But I think getting the counter pick for the Renekton in the face of everything else that's in this draft just feels real rough. And they'll take the Trundle instead of the Sejuani. And that's pretty strong here, obviously, into this draft, and it messes up a lot of what DPLUS Kia are trying to do.
I think that's just fine, you know. And yeah, maybe you get counter pick, maybe you get something like Kennen. You know, there's not a lot of great options for counter picks into Renekton, who's generally blind pickable. And maybe you could go for like Aurora or something. Gwen
actually, I do feel is quite strong. The Aurora you mentioned is what they opt for instead, and she has mastery of both, and so both options feel really good in terms of consistent damage output. The Aurora damage output is a little...
I was waiting. I think I heard some fighting cheers.
They're going to have to discuss it before tomorrow's game.
Maybe tomorrow, yeah. The grand finals tomorrow,
maybe
of course.
Cantonese commentators can select like 2 people just randomly, do a little like drawing of seats. Like you just pick 2 seats. Whoever's sitting in those seats has to yell. Doesn't matter how tired or shy they are, or if they're like lost their voice yelling during today's games. They're the ones.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they're the fan of the other team. Too bad you got designated.
Well, maybe the casters themselves could do it.
Yeah, maybe you and I could do it.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that pressure on us.
We could do it.
They can't really hear us that well.
So, especially early on, like, yes, Ziggs can clear waves and stuff, but, like, not that well early on. And you have a Nautilus, so you just die.
Yeah, no, the thing is your support can't shoot far. That's the thing.
Can't shoot at all.
That's the thing. He can't hit from range. And if he hooks, he's putting himself into range to be hit more often by the 2 ranged champions that are on the other side. So he will choose not to do so for obvious reasons. If the level 2 gets hit by Smash and Keria sets up a hook and they satchel into turret, that is the only way you can really hope for anything to happen in this matchup. Instead, you will then, if you don't have that, if you don't have those angles, which you are unlikely to have, you will just be sitting under turret and being glad that you went for a teleport on this Ziggs, because you're going to need to use it.
Fans very hype about the Yone for Showmaker, but especially early on can be very difficult to deal with. Vikla on the rise has the range advantage. You see that at the bottom lane, the Ziggs with teleport, you know, again, I was mentioning mainly that early on it's going to be difficult, but you get teleport, you can get back, and essentially Keria's job is stand there and hit his shield and try to block damage for the Ziggs. As Clear's going to go in on a trade. There's a big wave behind him, but he wants to kill. Gonna go through this entire wave.
Gets the heal from the wave as well. That's really well played there from Clear. That's how you want to play this one. Didn't have the empowered Q, but it's still a big one, and now has this wave here he can hit again.
He lost all the minions under turret, though, so it's a good trade, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be catching up in that CS number very well.
Lucid's also coming up here. Pretty interesting. I think he expects Clear wants to go for another all-in, perhaps a flash-empowered Q with full Fury, and he wanted to punish it. Not going to happen, though, as Clear's just... He's too low himself, I think, to actually try to make that type of play.
Yeah.
But Lucid is still just prepared for that possible eventuality.
So Raptor hanging around the bottom side of the map. And Vikla level 4, though. So I feel like it's still a little bit early if you're going to look for dives. And in fact, Smash and Keria have been able to push out the waves, so not in danger of that right now. Showmaker got a very good trade in mid, though.
Yeah, and ultimately, if you look at the CS between the top laners on this crashing wave here, it's not too bad for Clear, all things considered, in a matchup that is very difficult to play out early on. This is, again, arguably some would say Clear's best champion. I think I might be in the sum. I like it alongside his Gnar. His Rumble has been one of his best on his best days, obviously.
Rumble's not a champion anymore, actually, Wolf.
Yeah. Well,
because it gets banned every single game.
Yeah.
So don't have to worry about that. Maybe in Game 5 or Game 4 if they really want to ban out other stuff, but it seems very difficult and dangerous to leave that up.
Showmaker does have a pretty hefty wave to catch here, which would even up the CS significantly if he could do so.
He's doing a really good job in this lane. You know, I was expecting him to have a lot more trouble than this.
And as we watch him miss quite a few of these under all that pressure, but like you said, better than expected. Vikla's really putting the pressure on here now, though. It's a tough matchup because your melee and Ryze has great wave clear, so every time you try to play to your Unbound Soul, you're taking so much damage from minions. Smash has already used his teleport, and he is supportless, so Plate Gold is just raining upon Diablo and Kellen here early on.
Yeah, raining from the sky.
They're just sitting here saying, you know, it's raining outside a little bit here in Kowloon, and we're going to drop plate money on you as well, as Kellen does not quite connect there. Could have been a massive opportunity. Showmaker gets his Berserker's Greaves. That is a big spike for the early laning phase. Raptor, I don't think is going to be able to do anything here to impact the lane, but should be able to play through the Prio and start this Dragon. As Wukong is also, one of the problems when you don't have Prio in a game like this, is Wukong can't really do a whole lot pre-6, and the Trundle, on the other hand, is very happy to take early Dragons through said Prio, and he's a great skirmishing jungler early, so it's really difficult for Keria and Smash to really make a play here. They cannot even enter.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they kind of want to do something, but it's just a smite on the Dragon. We got an ult down on a Vikla, as immediately Showmaker is forcing Vikla out of this one. Flash comes forward, and down will go Vikla. Just like that, Showmaker warping the game around his Yone.
Just like he did in Game 1. And it's a very similar situation where Vikla uses his flash late after his demise is almost certain, as Raptor's trying to come over, but was once again busy on the Dragon. It's 2 games in a row. We had the same scenario here. Also commits his Ghost, so big win for Showmaker in this mid lane.
Showmaker's just not missing Q3s, and the same thing happens here in this replay.
Just on the edge of it, turns it into the ultimate, and Vikla is dead. Vikla opts, though, to flash and Ghost when Lucid is right there. And Raptor had it. I think he was a little bit tunneled there. Either way, still has the early game Rise power, but feels a little bit less now.
I don't know what's gotten into Vikla, but he's on the big stage, and he's trying to make big stage plays. But to us, who are feeling a little bit more calm than him right now, it just feels like he's being a bit over-aggressive. And, you know, it can pan out well if you do end up making the big play, but you got to be careful about giving Yone any into this lane, because now he's ahead in gold. He's tied up the CS, essentially, and having that Rise power is going to be significantly delayed, and the Yone can do stuff, as we do have some pressure in top lane. Clear. Gonna zigzag back and forth, even flashes away. Keria kind of reconsidering it, but is gonna go in with the flash and the dredge line, and he does not miss those, and will pick up the kill here for Xiu.
Huge win for Keria, playing so confidently on this Nautilus pick again. Hits the dredge line. Renekton's hurt box is quite large. The dredge line also can be pretty easy to hit on a target like this. It has a pretty big hitbox itself, but for Clear here, he flashes pretty early because he wants to build space. Unfortunately, it's still slowed here by the ultimate from Xiu, and then Keria, he tries to sidestep it. If he sidestepped it anymore, he would have died anyways. Just really good timing here from Keria, and they've been judging the aggression from Clear very well this game so far, and now it's a 20 CS lead here, and DPLUS pull ahead 1,000 gold off of these 2 kills.
Yeah, I really personally liked BNK's comp, especially early on, but, you know, having the Aurora to deal with the Renekton in top lane has helped out DK a lot, and also, I feel like DK are just playing better than League of Legends so far, and the draft is what it is, but, you know, you got outplays from Showmaker, you got great plays from Keria with the great roam timing up to top lane. That's how you're going to win with a comp like this. And yeah, you know, some of those draft issues will still be there, like the Seraphine and the Trundle into so much aggression. But, you know, if you get ahead, maybe you can warp the game around yourselves.
I definitely am picking up what you're putting down. And I do look at this. Okay, Smash, let's see. He's fine. I mean, there's so many things he has to dodge, by the way. The arrow is still there. The encore is still there. It is pretty tough to play out. He is massively behind in terms of farm, and he wants to defend these plates. There's a lot of factors to consider here. I think for Clear, that was a really nice play from Career, and she helps set it up. I definitely feel less bad about that one. For Vikla, it kind of felt like he had the blinders on a little bit with his overextension there, and then his commitment of the summoner spells. Gonna have to tighten that up a little bit, but still, even with this gold deficit, composition-wise, BNK feeling very comfortable in this early game.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with this Trundle taking the jungle away from Lucid as well, because this Prio on the bottom side is so oppressive.
Yeah.
They can walk up to Wolves and say, I mean, are you interested in contesting this? Let's find out.
No. There's the smite. And Raptor still a subjugate and flash. I think he's totally safe. Like, he's just going to use it there. We get the charm onto the Nautilus in the bot lane, by the way. It looks like he is okay. And it's actually Lucid who's in trouble, although Vikla kind of just goes over to the right side, maybe fooling them with the clone a little bit there. And Lucid gets out scot-free.
Yeah, definitely not the angle Vikla wanted to take there. And for Lucid's sake, he's definitely very happy with the result. Like you mentioned, the charm did go down here in the bottom lane. With these summoners down, actually, or these ultimates down, it's a lot more comfortable for Smash, but he has to be careful still.
Yeah, Smash walking up in a melee, well, into range of Ashe autos is not what you want to see. He needs to be sitting back, clearing the waves, like he can with the Lost Chapter. Like, this is the spike that Ziggs is looking for to kind of take away some of that pressure from the Ashe Seraphine, but instead he walks up to Ashe and takes 75% of his health.
Now, I mentioned they had the ult advantages, so this is going to be annoying to deal with, but nothing too consequential. They had the ult advantages, but neither of those ultimates really win you these 2v2s, except with weird circumstances, right? Like, for example, if they were trying to dive, the Nautilus ultimate is incredible, but when you hold the Ashe and the Seraphine in place with the Nautilus ultimate, Ziggs is like, I already pressed my buttons, you know? He gets one empowered auto, but he's not an 80 carry, so he can't use it that well. And I think he was still playing as if he was an 80 carry and not an awesome dude, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They ended up getting pretty punished there. Now, neither of these bottom layers had to expend critical summoners after that. And the cleanse is still up for Career here with the unsealed spellbook with a swap there. And Smash does, in fact, still have his flash.
Oh. So Diablo has been forced to stay in lane this whole time. He's not able to get a buy off. Whereas Smash is TP. And they're actually just going to get a hook here onto the Seraphine. Kellen, no encore. He might just have to flash the wall. And there it is. Showmaker looking maybe to ult on in. But
that could just be Dragon here for DPLUS. I think it likely will be. And it was really good pressure applied there by the bottom duo. Like you mentioned, the TP is there for Smash. He's going to use it to come straight back to lane, so he can push this wave in and out.
Hextech again.
It is Hextech again. Now, Diablo has to make a tough call. Does he want to back here with low mana or stay? If he backs, he's going to lose so much on this turret as Raptor's coming in looking for a play.
Here we got the collapse coming on in. Subjugate not utilized on time, and he flashes away and just dies to Lucid.
Vikla is overcommitting as well.
Yeah, should be able to get this kill, though. We'll see what happens after that as he will flash the wall and get away.
All right, I spoke too soon on that one. His flash is going to be good over the fat wall there to escape. But DPLUS are really starting to generate some massive advantages here in this game. Now, the bad news is that a lot of that is on a Wukong. It's not going to be utilizing the gold in a bad way, but he wanted to have it elsewhere. As this commitment was a bit bizarre to me because Vikla is so far away and you're playing into a Wukong. The subjugate was late. Diablo doesn't have mana and he was not in position to follow up. I think Raptor really just very ambitious with that one. Vikla is at least able to save it and get out here. He doesn't have teleport, so it's not the greatest for him, but at least he picks up some money and will maintain a gold lead now over Showmaker. This Ashe, though, is still the biggest problem for DPLUS. And compositionally, if they can get further ahead here, maybe the burst will be enough to get through these Seraphine shields, and they may just not care about getting encored as they move forward with this Yone Wukong.
Yeah.
And Shiu is still, I mean, he's the one who has the biggest gold lead here for DPLUS, has generated it through this lane alone. That early kill and the 30 CS advantage he has now, 35 CS, is pretty big. But let's see what happens when he joins team fights. Because right now he's also holding a bounty, needs to play carefully in these upcoming fights. I think the Herald fight is going to be the first real, true fight we have of this game.
Yeah. And it just feels like DK are playing much better League of Legends here in game number 2, especially compared to the first game we had. In this Ashe Seraphine, yes, they're ahead, but not that far ahead. Not as far ahead as you would expect, as we have a committal here, and Career's just kind of getting left out to dry, as Showmaker's like, sorry, buddy, way more than I expected in this fight, and I'm just going to ult this wall and get away.
That should be significant pressure here in the bottom lane, though. Showmaker's not out yet.
Yeah, maybe I spoke too soon. He is going to have to flash.
So he has the flash, his back is interrupted, he cannot farm this wave, the plates are going to get taken out here. Lucid's coming down with his ult coming down as well, but Showmaker doesn't have his own. And Showmaker's hesitating to back, but I think he doesn't want to give this turret, but I'm not sure if he can make something of this, as Kellen's a bit isolated.
Yeah, Kellen backing on a control ward, not the safest place to back there, and he just dies. I don't really... I mean, they felt like they had a lot of control over that push, I think, and that they could just back wherever they wanted, but a lack of respect there from BNK. As now Keria ghosting, just to show dominance.
Well,
I
he wanted
suppose.
to potentially grab Raptor here, but I don't think it's going to work out. As now Lucid is still holding ultimate,
Asserting dominance.
Play it slow.
Yeah. You see the pushes coming in, but bit of chunk damage here on a Showmaker. Is going to hit the Q3, but he's just unbinding his way out.
DPLUS have been so punishing this game. You know, every time you make an overextension or you make a mistake, they are going to find you. They are going to say, well, you were just a little bit greedy with how you played that. You had the edge, you had the advantage, but we're going to turn it on its head. I'm going to push you into that edge and cut you with it. And BNK do end up regain control of the bottom side. Their one more plate will actually be first brick here for BNK in that bottom lane, so that's going to go over to Vikla. That's going to be a lot of gold injected into them, and that should even up the gold pretty much between these two squads. DPLUS are going to have this Herald, and I said this is going to be our first real major fight, but without ultimates here for BNK, they may just simply let it go. They're in position, but without the ults, it's difficult to actually fight. As speaking of no ults, Showmaker comes up in 10.
Yeah, Keria in a lot of trouble here. Subjugate is down onto him, and Clear has the inside track. Raptor just going to pick up that kill, and DK have to abandon the pit for now. Although it does look like with the Ziggs coming up and a TP channeled from Showmaker, they want to get in. The smite is good from Raptor, but now the turn comes down, and immediately Chiyu is just dead. Lucid as well being kited out very nicely. Raptor going to put down the Rift Herald as well. They're considering for sure if they want to continue on this one, but
I think he should be able to drift into the mid lane here.
Yep.
If they tried to stay, he would have been able to disrupt the follow-up fight, but now he's just going to get this guaranteed crash. The punish is so difficult. We'll see. Showmaker has ult.
I mean, he's in a little bit of trouble. Really did not want to flash there. Looks like it just barely came up right now, but he's not going to have to use it.
And just like that, though, I mean, simply put, just like that, the lead is gone for DPLUS. And it all starts with this fight. We came in a little bit late here. Keria was aggressively warding this brush, and Raptor just ults him and kills him. It's just that simple. Clear is also so difficult to kill at this stage. And watch the ultimate when it comes down here from the Ziggs in this fight. We're just too early in the game. The Aurora ult is there, but he's alone. And it's just like, what can you hope to actually do in skirmishes this early into this draft? Like, even when their ults were down, you didn't have full control. Keria dies early. They give over the Herald. The crash comes through. They can't get the punish. And BNK starting to pick up some nice advantages here.
Yeah, we assumed that this best of 5 would be very close, very back and forth. And I have to hold that thought as Vikla is going to get dredge lined, and that just means that Keria has to flash. Funny how that works. And yeah, we assumed to be very back and forth. It does feel like BNK, coming back in this game is looking really good for them with the Rise and the Ashe on their team. A nice amount of scaling there. But DK, I mean, that was their opportunity to make this game theirs, but not quite, as we're going to have a fight underneath this one. Diablo just gets blown to smithereens.
Well, the Dragon.
Drake does go over to the Trundle, and Raptor's not done yet, as Lucid in a lot of trouble himself, and will be chased down. And DK are going at 1 by 1, but the damage is insane. They go all in onto the Renekton, as Clear is going to have to pay for their sins, whereas the rest of BNK still on the run. We have DK on the chase here. They're looking to hide on Bush and maybe get that going, but they knew they were in the charm. But the charm goes down on the Showmaker, and it's 2 for BNK. And hiding on Bush, the best strategy you can have.
Now, Faker may not be here in Hong Kong, but his legacy still remains. As in this moment, DK have no choice but to follow. They cannot just simply give this Drake up and let them get out. It's 3 kills the opportunity. But unfortunately, and Smash forced to flash here. May still be dead.
I think he's just dead. Nowhere for him to go. Vikla is unstoppable. 5-1 on the Rise. He's 2,000 gold. DPLUS ahead of his opponent.
And in this fight, he's the one who does the majority of the damage as Diablo is collapsed on here. So much is used to kill the AD carry, and the Renekton, who shows up mid-fight here with tons of fury and is in the backline, is just so incredibly difficult to kill. And even though Vikla's on low health, he is just pumping damage constantly. And then here the call is made. Look at the ult for the Seraphine. Kellen gets it at this exact moment. They make the call to hide and look for the turn. They pick up the final kills there. And that may have been the back-breaking moment. And this is just insult to injury. A Smash gets over the wall, but still gets rune prisoned and is taken down. As this lead is exploding now for BNK. Double what it was moments ago, but the map control is real.
Look at Lucid in a lot of trouble on the Raptors. Oh, that was a big bomb on a Diablo. And he nearly just dies straight up to Smash.
Meanwhile, turret,
yeah.
So some of that lead has diminished a little bit here. Good barrier from Diablo keeps him alive.
I feel like this game is on like the knife's edge, like of Yone's sword right now. It's such a thin margin.
But it's every fight that you see is so decisive one way or the other. Every single moment you feel like, okay, this is the control has been given, but then there's an outplay on the other side. Or, in some cases, a bit of an overextension.
Yeah.
You can see the lead for Shiu in terms of experience over everybody else was so massive, but Vikla is now really caught up. And it's just about, you know, what, 5%, 8% behind him in experience.
Nearly a full level ahead of Yone. NT did not finish the stacks on, the Rod of Ages. They're just going to go for this in 20 minutes.
Both of their soul laners in bottom lane have TP.
Yeah, it's on Vision. I mean, they saw this happening. And TP's going to be used, only one of them, notably.
Well,
so they use one, and that stops them from taking the... Well, I say that.
Shiu does commit his anyways.
Yeah. And now we're going to have the Dredge line in onto the Trundle. The arrow hits nobody, and Showmaker goes super deep for tons of damage, but now out of position, has to flash. Smash doesn't have his, and he will get smashed down the bottom lane, and DK is gone. And BNK will get something for the troubles.
I mean, at the end of the day, these are the types of problems we raised when we were looking at these compositions. How difficult it is for DPLUS to be the ones to come to the play and make that aggressive move when they're so heavily melee. It's very challenging. And even the Aurora, who isn't melee, has to do so much upfront burst at low range to be relevant in these fights. And she went Leandri's, so the burst is not as strong as it otherwise could be in this game. So, like, watch this fight break out. DPLUS are challenging for position. Career goes in initially, but how do you actually fight this from here? Showmaker has to go in alone. Where's the follow-up damage? There just isn't any. I think Showmaker should have played this slower. Kellen, also, by the way, incredibly patient in this fight. Just waits, holds his ultimate. He's like, I'm just going to make sure the fact that I don't ult means that Showmaker's the only ones going in. Now they're split up. And he uses it to clean up the kill there at the end, but there was just no real angle for DPLUS, no opportunity for Shiu to make a big play. And if fights keep going like this, the lead will continue to grow. 40 seconds until this next dragon, and DPLUS do have control over the bottom side of the map to a pseudo extent here around this red buff. I mean, obviously Clear is pushing out that bottom wave, but they can try to collapse onto him, and that could be a big opportunity for the dragon. They're going to Hex Gate out instead. If BNK get this, the amount of control they buy on the map is insane. This Trundle has a frozen heart.
Yeah, I think from ahead, this comp is just so oppressive, and Shiu, standing on Vision, doesn't know it, and gets caught in a really rough spot. I mean, that's the worst timing as well. We just realm warp into the Baron Pit, they say.
The Vision game has been insane for BNK this series. They have wards everywhere. They're always watching you.
Their Baron damage is really strong. Even the Trundle and the Ashe Rise goes without saying. You see Lucid, he's going to have to go for it. He's going to have to pull out the big smites just like he did against Oner. Flashes into the pit. Tons of burst damage does come down as they try to go deep for Diablo, but Diablo stays alive. And they do get the kill on a clear, though. BNK not in the best of spots. Smash kind of ruling the Rift right now against all these low health bars is going to push them off the objective.
So it ends up being a trade here. Trade up for BNK with a kill on Shiu, but Dragon on the cards for DPLUS, and they end up getting them off the map. So there's just so much extra tempo that's now gained here by DPLUS. As the Vision game I mentioned, look at the whole map. What's happening? I guess we know what happened to Shiu, but the Vision, like every entrance to every river, there's a ward on it. BNK find their opportunities. Now, this does not end up being the highest value ultimate here from Kellen. Only hits the Nautilus. And this means that Lucid is completely uncontested as it goes on to Diablo. And Diablo's health bar being low is the biggest problem here. Is Clear tried to trade his life bar to then give him the opportunity to clean up the fight, but he was too low to do so. And the Dragon is not taken by DPLUS. They were unable to do so, and now
they're going so aggressively to try to start these fights. I feel like it's BNK. You gotta let DK come to you instead. They're just running into the jungle. Viclet's gonna go down, and immediately Showmaker picks up a huge shutdown.
I mean, they don't have their critical tools in this fight. They don't have the Encore. And Vikla is still, I mean, look, he was massively ahead. He's still 1,000 gold ahead in this game. But you're not so ahead that you can just walk into 5 without any support.
So forced.
Extremely. And DPLUS are like, all right, well, maybe the knife's edge is digging into BNK now. As this is just, I mean, it's really inexcusable positioning here as he aggressively tries to look for the 1v1 against Shiu, which is ultimately a 1v5 because he is alone and all of DPLUS were right there.
Yeah, I can understand, you know, Vikla, he feels extremely strong. He had Actualizer as well before he died. And he's like, I will blow anyone up that tries to face check me. But the rest of your team wasn't there, and you need more tools to get all of the threats of DK off of you. And if DK come together and they burst you down, like, what are you going to do? So
I think his idea is if I kill one person and I barely live, or even trade, that maybe buys enough time for Kellen to get his ult back up, and
or even chunk one person out, you know.
But it just doesn't. It didn't work that way. They weren't close enough to help bail him out of that. It's just a misjudgment. And Baron is still not taken, right? Dragon goes over to DPLUS. We're 2 Drakes apiece. I think the issues compositionally that we've talked about so much this game still exists for DPLUS, but they've kept the game interesting. This Wukong has been the biggest threat so far for Diablo, who's getting stronger by the moment. Has IE. That's also his 3rd item.
Yeah, I mean, the Ziggs as well. Like, we haven't talked too much about Smash, especially when he's aggressively satcheling and then just dying immediately. Not too much to talk about there. But when he hits his ults onto these people, like, they're all squishy enough. Like, you don't want to hit the Renekton, but that amount of burst damage with the rest of the comp might just be enough. Lucid is spotted. He's just going to go right on in because he doesn't have anywhere else to go, and that's going to be the Ziggs just blown up like that, and the Rise incredibly strong right now. And that is what Vikla is capable of on this pick when he is very fed. Is now going to go on in. The stun on the Showmaker, though, and that means he misses entirely, trying to be the hero. Meanwhile, Shiu trying to 1v1 Vikla. I don't know about that one, buddy, as the map is falling apart for DK, and maybe now BNK can take the Baron.
It looks likely. There's just no one to stop them. And I'm not sold on that Lucid flank there, because you're playing into this comp. You need to be able to get, like, if you can set this up where Smash is there and you can satchel somebody or Career's a little bit closer, then I'm kind of on the same page with you. But in this case, he just goes in disconnected from the rest of his team. Vikla says no to Smash. You cannot join. You're not going to be a factor here. And just like that, BNK look at Lucid the same way I am, kind of going, what was your plan here? And then this stun ruins Showmaker's setup, and Diablo just sidesteps. But even if he gets the kill here, then how much it really turns the tides of this game. At least it might have slowed the Baron that is almost certainly already smote in live.
Yeah.
230 on that, and the power play is ticking. BNK have pushed themselves up to a 4K lead here, and they're looking to really squeeze DPLUS out of the rest of this game.
Yeah, they definitely have the tools to do so. It was really unfortunate to watch Smash in that last fight. He's trying to follow up on this very, like, ragtag forced engage from the team, from Lucid, trying to get that flank, and then he just runs straight into Rise, not realizing it. Like, he's got his map, he's got his vision on Lucid, and he just runs straight into Rise and dies. Like, it's little or big mistakes like that that are going to get you in trouble. And obviously, Rise can be difficult to get away from when he ghosts at you, but it needs to be a little bit cleaner from DK if they're going to have a chance in this game. But now, might be a little bit too little too late.
That's a Renekton with half a Fury bar. He's not too worried about getting dredge-lined, as Vikla does insane amounts of damage to turrets as well, and has this Baron buff on his side. They're just winning all 3 parts of this in the 1-3, so to speak, here with a 3-man in bottom lane.
Oh, shoot. Okay, well, he's desperately trying to clear the cannons, and instead he cleared his own health bar. So, yeah, maybe they're trying to collapse here on the bottom side, but everything is seen.
The vision game, again, for BNK is just They're doing their due diligence everywhere. They leave no stone unturned, and so this Wukong flank is just caught out immediately. Now they're looking for a TP flank. That's out of vision.
Yeah, Keria's getting burst down in the front part of this fight as they are going to get the flash out of Diablo, and immediately Showmaker just dies as maybe they take out the Ash, as Zeus does get on the flank here. And now Vikla is underneath the turret, does an insane amount of damage to Smash, and maybe he is the one that can break open the space. Down will go the Renekton. They're still chasing under the turret. Guys, you're going too aggressive. I know your team is BNK FEARX and you don't have fear, but come on, guys. You didn't have to do that.
They didn't have to. I don't know if it really matters that much, though.
Just like game one.
And in this moment, Diablo's flash feels like it's the last potentially tense moment in this game where they want to follow up. He flashes this, it's done. He doesn't get caught by Showmaker. There's no follow-up anyways. And Vikla, yes, he roam warps into practically the fountain in this one, but he has Zonias. It doesn't matter. Clear is so big that even though Smash dies, he absorbed everything, did so much damage with Vikla anyways, and this is just a compositional difference. I think with less tools here, less peel for BNK, playing like this would have gotten them punished way more severely, but they can kind of just do whatever they want at this point. There's too many outs, there's too many freebies, and this should be soul point for them as well. Yeah, they got the inhibitor on the other side. Like, they were already saying, like, we got Baron, we use it to get the inhibitor top side so we can have prio for the Dragon guaranteed, where you have to deal with the top wave.
Yeah, on the side of BNK, like, we talked about this draft-wise. If you get behind against Seraphine Trundle, you don't get to, like, play team fights on your own pace. Like, DK, I feel like, have been lucky, and they've been proactive, at least in the early to mid parts of the game, to make some plays. But the second BNK kind of lock things down, they play a little bit safer, and they, you know, get a lead, it just feels almost impossible. There's no flank angle for Lucid. Showmaker's running in a straight line at them. By the way, 3 levels behind Vikla right now. So the One's not really having any angle. And yeah, you got like a nice flank in the last one, and honestly, the fight was closer than I thought it was going to be, but they also dove the turret. So again, it didn't have to be like that. And I think BNK, after that happened, are playing a little bit more respectfully now.
Yes.
Well, at least they haven't dove any turrets in the last 2 minutes. So
there's no Baron buff. There is no objective.
Yeah.
There's no Otacon.
Wait, where'd he go?
It's been gone for a little while, Valdez.
Oh.
We said
I see.
We said best of luck in your future endeavors at Kespa Cup, and he hasn't come back since. This is now for BNK just utilizing vision control. Like, this is one of those patience tests that you have when you have a lead like this at 31.5 minutes in, where there's nothing to take. Your siege is okay, but it's not enough to just outright group as 5 and end the game. Just have to continue to play through vision and set traps and make sure that DPLUS can't get back into the game. For DPLUS, you just keep farming, and you go, well, our Ziggs is getting stronger, right? Our Yone is massively behind, but that means less and less every 5 minutes that passes.
Yeah,
and you just have to hope that BNK mess up this Baron. You can get that punish here. You can slow the Baron down, buy more time. The inhibitor's up in 2.5. It's on the same side of the map as the Baron, so you can clear that while also grouping to challenge Baron. It's not a great position for DPLUS. It's a really rough one. It is nigh unplayable. However, the fact that the Nexus still stands, the fact that 2 inhibitor turrets are still up, means that they can give this one more big fighting chance. Lucid is going to have his flash relatively soon, and he has GA. So between him and the burst follow-up that this draft does have, if they are not respectful, again, BNK could toss this game away. I wouldn't predict it. In fact, it's hard to imagine it, but there's still hope here if you're a DPLUS fan.
Yeah. Always hope until the Nexus explodes. We learned that multiple times, even in this exact LCK Cup, amongst multiple teams, as they're going to try to arrow in SU, but just a little bit faster than Diablo expected.
Luckily for him, he's level 16, and that arrow will be back pretty quickly. As Lucid, again, he's the main character here in terms of setup engagement. They're just going to jump over the pit wall and start the Baron. They have so much
vision. Look at this damage. I mean, it's already like half gone. And Lucid's like, well, maybe I can get, no, I can't get past the Renekton. There's the root, there's the Baron. Goes over to BNK.
And they passed the patience test I was talking about. They played it well, they played aggressively, they found their angle, they get the Baron with no risk. They made it a 0-risk Baron. And that doesn't say BNK if you think about previous years with this squad, but here in 2026, this team knows how to macro. They know how to play the vision game. They know how to play patient and measured when it's required of them. And that's exactly what they did. Is there is no cross map, there is no cross play here. There's no Dragon to tie us up 3-3 here for DPLUS. They just have to let that Baron go and get ready to defend it.
Yeah, the Baron push will come in, and I think this time there are a lot of flank wards actually in mid, so got to be careful about that. But and also that, don't run straight into the Ziggs bomb, but you can still siege until the Dragon comes up and then try to get Hextech Soul and win the game off of that. That should be the safest way to lock this one down. And for DPLUS Kia, I mean, again, you're going to have to rely on flanks. I would imagine with the TPs coming in, they have a lot of flank wards, even on the bottom side of the map. And besides that, I don't really see a good angle. Vikla going to take a bunch of damage, but runs straight up to the Soul and says, I will take you down! Flashes in and takes him out. Showmaker no longer on the Rift, as in will go Raptor, Lucy getting bullied away. And these two inhibitors will fall. And maybe the third to follow as well. Maybe they say, well, we don't even need to play around the Dragon. We can just end this game right here.
They have so many Baroned up cannon minions. It's just an insane siege as Clear can buy so much space. And I think BNK are going up to match point here, Valdez. A very dominant start to the series.
Looking fantastic so far in the first couple of wins. Not very close in these two games, as maybe they get Raptor, but they will not get the game. It's 2-0. That does go